I am here, don't worry. Getting my coffee ready. There we go. Coffee. Got coffee. I got me. Good morning, Nish. What else do I really need? Not much. It's like I'm getting ready to do something. Let's do it, right? 3, 2, 1. Good morning, everybody. Welcome. Today is Wednesday. It's March 24th, 2021. My name is Jeremy, and this is my first cup of coffee. You know, I had a pretty solid day yesterday. I'm not going to lie. Let's see, what was yesterday? Yesterday, recorded an episode. Good morning, Stacy. Had a great client call. Worked more on the whistlekickprograms.com website, which is proving to be a much larger project than intended. It's like, oh man. But once it's done, it's done. So I'm just chipping away at it. It's going to be a couple more weeks, I think, before it's finished. Although Friday, I'm hoping to spend a bunch of time on it on Friday. I had a client call that I had, or not a client call, an interview that I had to pull the plug on, which might be the only time I've ever done this. The audio was bad. It was really bad. And I told the guest, I said, look, audio quality matters. We're not putting out a show that we know from the jump is going to be bad audio. He said, I really want to do this. I said, I know. That's great. Leslie will reschedule with you. We got to do it sometime when you're not at work, because he had a very loud work environment. And I wasn't mad, and he didn't seem mad, so that's good. And what that allowed me to do, I had a choice at that point, because that gave me 2 hours in between things. And I said, all right, what do I do? Do I hang out, relax, play some video games, clean the house, do some of those quiet things that I lament not being able to do on the weekend, that I lament over the weekend not being able to do during the week? And I said, no, I'm going to do video. So I grabbed my gimbal, which I think I've shown this on the show before. I'll show you in a minute. And I went and I re-recorded some video for whistlekickprograms.com. Good morning, Brian. I don't know if you guys know about this thing. So this is my solution to not having somebody around to film for me all the time. Okay. You're like, Jeremy, what does that thing do? So you put the phone in there, and there are all these servo motors, and it maintains balance. And through software, you can even have it lock on a certain thing, like your face. And I walk down the street with my arm out here, and it films me. And it keeps my face in frame. Now, I tried doing this the other day with a selfie stick, and it worked other than it did this. And it was really distracting, because as I walked, my arm moved. And that's what that prevents. That's an expensive one, because I'm tired of buying low-end stuff. And it's $150. It's from DJI, the company that makes the Mavic drones. They make that. And the hardware is great, the software is not so great. So if anybody out there is trying to do video work for yourself, grab that. It also comes with, you've got a regular threaded hole. I do not receive any compensation or benefit. I'm just sharing something that I found that works for me with all of you. But it comes with a tripod mount. You can put it on a regular I could take this tripod that my phone is on, and I could mount it on there and do anything I needed, because it's stable enough. And the renovation work that we're doing in the warehouse, this is, to my mind, how I'm going to film. I'll set that up on a tripod and put my face in frame and back up, and it'll do its thing. So that's what we're doing. And so that video, what did I film? 4 or 5 different versions as I walked around, and just watched them and picked the best one, put that up. But there's a lot more video work. In fact, it seems like the majority of what we're doing moving forward, everything seems to relate to video. We have people commenting on Martial Arts Radio episodes, hey, would love to see more video. Program development has to do with video. Selling the programs has to do with video. It's all video. Video, video, video. And I'm slowly looking at TikTok. Like, how do we do something with TikTok? And I'm game to do something with TikTok. Here's the challenge, though. There's gonna be a lot of comments. If we do anything, it's probably gonna come out pretty good. And do I have time to engage with all those comments? That's the challenge. Everything I'm reading about the TikTok algorithm says you really have to reply and engage with all those people commenting, and just the sheer volume. Does that volume translate into sales or awareness? I don't know. Maybe. Stacy, I was just thinking of you as I had that. Stacy says so many comments. Yeah, it is so easy to comment, and of course, a lot of those comments are not positive. TikTok is the new YouTube for hateful comments. So. The final kind of work-related thing that I did yesterday that I want to comment on. I was interviewed. So, nice guy, Francis. There's an accent over the last vowel in your name, sir. So I'm assuming it's Cordone. And if I'm wrong, I apologize. But Francis Cordone has a YouTube channel, and I first became aware of what he's doing on his YouTube channel when he let me know that he had done kind of some follow-up stuff on a video that episode Andrew and I did. And I went and checked it out, and it was really good. I was like, hey, this guy's doing some cool stuff. And we've had a number of conversations, and he mentioned, he'd love to see more stuff of me kind of on the other side of the camera, in a sense. And I said, well, you want to interview me? And he said yes. So we did that yesterday. And it was a lot of fun. I love talking about martial arts. And it reminds me that the style of martial arts radio is such that I don't really have conversation with people. That it tends, I'm interviewing them, they're telling their story. And I don't want to change that. But it means that I want to find more opportunities where I can have these conversations. Because as we converse, I work stuff out. I find new ways of saying things that I like better. Conversation helps me. Conversation is to arguing or debate. Frank says, from east to west, Jeremy's best. Thank you, Frank. And I owe you an email. Stacy says, I wish I spoke Russian and German too. Translate is awesome, however. Yeah, TikTok is such an international audience. Conversation is to debate as slow partner movement is to full speed partner movement. In conversation, I'm able to figure some things out. Just as slow sparring helps me figure things out. I like that. Coffee is good. It was 70 degrees here yesterday. I pulled 3/4 of a gallon of sap off one tree, maple sap. I'm actually going to have some syrup this year. Holy cow. The crock pot is just running full speed all day, trying to boil it down. Why a crock pot? Because that's the easiest thing I can do, because I don't have to pay attention to it. I just let it sit there and steam off and pour more sap in and just steam off. It's starting to get a little brown. Probably got 2.5 gallons in there, maybe 3 gallons of sap cooked down. And so that, at average sugar ratios, is going to be, let's say 2, 6, 8, about a cup of maple syrup. I could probably fill this cup with maple syrup out of 3 gallons. It's a lot of energy to get maple syrup. That's why it's so expensive. For those of you who don't know, that's why it's so expensive. There's a lot of energy that goes into cooking off that extra water. And so what's going on today? It's Wednesday, doing the books. I have a single client call. That's going to be a long call. We've got a big project we're working on. I got something set for the afternoon. I'm trying to remember what that is. Yeah, just kind of a normal day. but looking forward to it. Hung out with some friends last night. We had tacos. We sat outside by a fire, had a couple drinks, chatted. It was really nice. Friends that I hadn't hung out with in a while. You know, you get a group of friends that you spend a lot of time with, and then something changes, and you're not spending time with that group. Maybe it's a group of martial arts friends. And you kind of wake up and you're one day and you're like, you know, I haven't seen these people in a long time and I miss them. That's kind of what it was. It was, you know, you spend years building friendships with people, and the right people, you can just step right back in. The wrong people, maybe you can't. These are the right people. All right. Speaking of right people, you all are the right people, and you gave me stuff to talk about, so let's see what it is. If you want to give me stuff to talk about tomorrow, you put it in the comment section of this episode after the show is done, because there's no way to do it while the show is going that I'm aware of, and we go from there. And I put up a revised version of the stance video on the Jeremy Lesniak Martial Arts channel. The other day, it's up, it's ready, it's got better audio. So for those of you who saw it, you went, hey, this audio is terribly quiet, I don't like it. Well, there's a better version now. And I unlisted the old one, so you shouldn't be able to find it so easy. Oh, come on. Show me Frank's comment. It's not showing me. Ah! All right, hold on. That is why Frank is still so kind as to send me Facebook messages. All right. We've got another chess champion. Two-time American women's chess champion Jennifer Shahade. I might be saying that last name wrong, but it sounds pretty close. Most chess books only sell a few thousand copies, and a book titled something like Women in Chess would sell even fewer. The idea with this title was to spread the book outside the competitive chess world. I'm interested in attracting readers who love chess but only play casually, and feminists interested in male-dominated fields. What book did she write? She didn't write the book for Queen's Gambit, did she? Because there's a book behind that series. It's interesting how the way you name things has such an impact on the reception to them. So the novel that I wrote, Faith, that's been one of the criticisms. Why is it called Faith? Well, you'll see. You read it a couple times and you'll probably get it, but as you go through, as I bring you the next installment, it should be a little clearer. Whistlekick Martial Arts Radio. We could have called it anything. We could have called it Super Crazy Ninja Podcast, which probably would have gotten more initial attention, but not the right attention. The way something is initially presented, in name, in visual, photo, video, whatever it is, that first impression matters a lot. It matters a tremendous amount, because we make up our minds so quickly. And today we make our minds up even faster than we used to, because there's so much stuff. There's so many options. And one of the things that I'm constantly aware of and counseling my clients on is that people look for reasons to say no. They're trying to make sure, okay, that's not going to work. I don't want to spend time with that person. That's going to be a ripoff. That's a scam. No, 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 no. I think email has trained us how to do that, actually. So you have so little time to stand out and get people to pay attention. And this is why the videos that I filmed with this thing are of me walking down the road, because it's different enough from what most people are doing in video right now that it's harder to initially dismiss. They are going to watch longer and thus hear more words, and I've got more of a chance of grabbing them. And you might think, well, Jeremy, this, you're turning this into a business show. Well, I think the concept applies equally. What if you are trying to catch someone's attention with, I don't know, a resume? There are things that you can do when submitting that resume that help it move to the top. Not that anybody submits physical copies of resumes anymore, but when I did, I was always putting it on the best paper I could find. I was using paper that cost me $1 a page because it stands out instead of using cheap 20-pound 84 bright paper, which, hey, any paper nerds out there that know what that means? I worked at Staples, I know paper. I was using linen bond, 50 sheets at a time for $30 resume paper. Because if you're flipping through a stack, you go, oh, this paper feels good. This person cares. You stand out. When you email that resume, how do you stand out? You make sure that the subject line is appropriate, but it's not the same as what everybody else is going to do. What is everybody else going to put in that subject line? Resume for position X, or resume for this job, applying for this job, please consider me for this job, your attention requested in regard to this position, things like that. Do something different. Keep it professional, but do something different. Show your enthusiasm. Show your interest. Show your creativity. If there's something about that job that warrants one of those things, make sure it comes through in the email. So when we think about a book that this author is referencing, this chess player is referencing, and the understanding that she wanted to sell more copies than a book on women's chess would have suggested would buy it, she changes it up. She changes up the way it's framed. I don't know if I mentioned yesterday or the day before, I've started watching The Great on Hulu about Catherine the Great. I thought it was Hulu's response to The Crown, which I liked, but I wasn't so interested in watching a dramatic series on Russia. But for some reason, I gave it a try after Hulu telling me for a year to watch it. It's hysterical. It's a comedy. It is one of the funniest things I've ever seen. Good morning, Francis. I was talking about you. It's an example of where I think Hulu dropped the ball in presenting it. The trailer that I initially saw when that show first debuted didn't make it seem funny. So think about those first impressions and the way that you show up when you see other people. What's next? Tournament chess is not relaxing. It's stressful even if you win. I think tournament anything. Assuming you're performing at a high level, assuming that you care. That's one of the things I've always coached people with. I'm nervous. I'm nervous about competing. I'm nervous about my testing tomorrow. I'm nervous to do this, that, or the other thing. Well, it means you care. I don't get nervous about things that don't matter. Stacy says, what I do with my resume breaks all sorts, I'm assuming, of rules. If you're nervous, you care. If you're anxious, you care. Doesn't mean it's the best way to handle it, but it is a sign that something matters to you. So find a way to make the best use of that feeling. Understand it. Learn how to work with it. I mentioned, was it the other day, 2 days ago, last week, that on the rare instance when I compete, my mindset when I step in is that I will win, because that is the mindset that one should have when one competes. And that is incredibly stressful. I can't even really talk to people an hour beforehand, and usually an hour after. Because the outcome matters. And not just the outcome in terms of the results of what others think. Because I've been in plenty of circumstances where others had no business doing what they were doing. The notion of someone who's been training. Here's a pet peeve. No one should ever be passing judgment on the martial arts of someone else who has more experience than they. Now, of course, there are places where that breaks. You know, you get somebody who's been training 50 years and somebody who's been training 60 years. It's going to be hard finding someone who's trained more than 60 years to referee that event at a competition. But someone who's been training for 4.5 years probably shouldn't be judging my form. Just going to throw that out there. But what really matters is my performance. Did I do my best? I'm hell-bent on doing my best when I compete. I'm hell-bent on doing my best when I do anything. I try to make this show the best I can. Not that it's the top priority in my life. I don't spend all day yesterday preparing for this show, because that's not what it's about. But when I show up, I do try to do the best I can. I try to look at the camera. I try to make sure that I'm here on time. I try to make sure that I speak intelligently on intelligible, relevant things with all of you. It does matter. Do I get nervous about it? No. Because I trust all of you. I like all of you. And I've been doing it. Geez, how many episodes do we have of this? Quite a few. I think we've surpassed number of episodes of Martial Arts Radio. I could check at some point. My first goal, here we'll move on to the next one. My first goal is to create an attractive, interactive website that forms a community of chess lovers. I want to keep it light and keep people coming back. Heavy on photos, humor, and simple chess tactics and strategies. I want to promote our top players to increase their visibility and their chances to make a living at chess. Swap the word chess for martial arts. My first goal is to create an attractive, interactive website that forms a community of martial arts lovers. I want to keep it light, keep people coming back. Heavy on photos, humor, and simple martial arts tactics and strategies. I want to promote our top players to increase their visibility and their chances to make a living at martial arts. That's kind of what we're trying to do on martialjournal.com. If anybody wants to write, we could use more writers. Go check it out. Fill out the form or email me or something. We'll get you writing. We will pay you $0. The editors will receive $0 for editing your work. The editor-in-chief will receive $0 for overseeing the project, and as the publisher, it will cost me money to do so, because Whistlekick funds the whole project. It's a cool project. I'm glad we do it. The best people in the world at things. I think it's a shame when the best people don't get the opportunity to advance the thing. When I look at martial arts, I tend to compare martial arts to CrossFit because there are so many similarities. And anybody who has spent time in both martial arts and the CrossFit world understands why I make that comparison. I watched CrossFit come out of nothing, and there are now quite a few people making a living, a good living. Not many, but quite a few. Way more than martial arts competitors as full-time competitors. Because they made something that was of interest to everyone. Kat, what are you doing? She's doing something she shouldn't be doing. She's eating a bug or something. I don't know. Try not to be distracted. There was a reason Reebok came in and did a 10-year sponsorship that was costing them tens of millions of dollars a year, because it led to them selling a lot of shoes. Not just to people who do CrossFit, but to others. It was exciting to watch. It was something that was understandable to watch. Now, how about chess? How about martial arts? Who watches chess? People who are really into chess. Who watches martial arts competition? Very rarely is it people who are even really into martial arts competition. If you go to a martial arts competition, who's in the stands? People who have someone that they love competing that day. Usually parents, grandparents, instructors. Very rarely is a martial arts competition. Thank you, Frances. Oh, and I missed a comment from Brian. Brian, I'll respond to that in a moment. If we, martial arts, or chess, or any of these other things, are going to be elevated and bring in money and reach more people, we have to make changes to the way it's presented. You can't have 14 rings and have them all going at once with no commentary, with incredibly subjective rules. It's boring. Why did MMA take off? Because everyone understands that a punch to the face, getting punched in the face, is a bad thing. It's obvious. Everyone understands that when a guy is stomping on somebody else, that person is winning. You watch point sparring, it's hard to understand unless you do it. You watch a bunch of forums, unless you really know what's going on, it is hard to figure out who's better. It's kind of like figure skating. Why do most people watch figure skating in the Olympics? Because they think it's cool, right? I remember my mother watching figure skating. She appreciated the artistic element of it, the beauty of the movement. She didn't understand the difference. She didn't understand the technical elements and why it was one thing versus another. The only way martial arts will grow such that the best martial artists in the world are able to be full-time martial artists. I don't mean school owners and instructors. I mean full-time training athletes, is if we find a way to bring money in from outside martial arts. I've said it for years. I will continue to say it for years. I have a plan to make it happen. It just requires us making a lot of money so I can turn it back into the competition. Brian was responding to something said, can judgment not come in two forms? Critique and learning versus constructive criticism feedback. Ooh. Let me read that again. Can judgment not come in two forms? Critique and learning versus constructive criticism feedback. Is that from yesterday? Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. You're referencing what I was talking about. Referees only overseeing divisions where they have more experience than the competitors. Yes. So can judgment not come in two forms? Critique and learning versus constructive criticism feedback. It can. It absolutely can. The challenge, and anybody who's been training a while knows this, the challenge is that as we progress as martial artists, most of our work, most of our development is very nuanced. And unless you have the experience to recognize that nuance, it becomes really difficult to point to between two people and say, oh, this one is clearly better. But someone who's been training a while can watch a form, for example, and say, okay, I see these little things that this person is doing that this person over here does not do. And if I, sitting here, have been training for 4 or 5 years, I may not even know that nuance exists. Here's a great example. Watch anybody who has been training, 5 or 10 years, has no experience with Kempo, refereeing a division with mixed styles, and a Kempo practitioner does their form. Some of the things that are taught as being bad in karate or taekwondo are actually not only encouraged, but a core component of many Kempo styles. ITF taekwondo is taught to not maintain the height of stances as they come through. If you've never trained in ITF taekwondo, you don't know that. So it's about watching and observing nuance and becoming, and the professional refereeing it really needs to happen. But Brian says, thank you, I follow it now. Cool. And that's as far as we're getting. Frank, if you want to carry those comments forward to tomorrow, just let me know. And I can attack those tomorrow and give me something new. Because we're 30 minutes in. It's time to go. It's time to go tackle the day. I hope you have a great day. I hope you will consider some of the things we talked about today. I hope you'll tune in tomorrow. Remember, every weekday, 6:30 a.m. U.S. Eastern Time. And if you've got stuff to talk about that you want me to respond to, drop it in the comment section below. Once I hit that done button, you should be able to, if you get the chance, subscribe, turn on notifications, hit the thumbs up button, tell people about what we do, buy something at whistlekick.com like this mug, patreon.com/whistlekick for bonus content. So much stuff out there. So thank you. And I hope to see you back here tomorrow. Take care, everybody. Peace.